first of all, welcome you. I always appreciate seeing you because we both, well, you're the spiritual director of the Rhythmia Life Advancement Center. But as you know, we see each other because I go there at least 2 times a year to do teaching.
Yes.
And that nature. So it's always good to see you. You carry such a strong vibration, a strong frequency. And you're not only the spiritual director there, but you're the individual that assists with the plant medicine there for people to have their amazing insights. And
yes.
So welcome. Now, I have part of your book here with me, and I want to read something. This is a part of the prose, part of the poetry from your book. It says, "A new consciousness is birthing, while the old is not yet dead. Aim for that new consciousness within you, and it will lead you to new horizons, clean and fresh dimensions of being." And I think for such a time in history right now, with everything being the way it is, that's the same consciousness that I hold, that the old is dying, but is not yet completely dead. The new is being born, but it's in an embryonic state. And so we're learning to hold this tension between the death of the old and the birth of the new, and you captured that in your poem. Now, before we get into that a little bit, tell us a little bit about your personal background and how you ended up being the spiritual director at Rhythmia, and what led you to the path you're on.
Well, first, thank you for having me. The internet is a little bit funky here, so I hope I will hear everything clear. Yes, it's I think sometimes sometimes we think that we can direct our life, yeah, and sometimes life directs us. If I can say something about my life, is that every event in my life, there was a strong guidance. Some of it happened very smoothly, and some of it happened through crisis. But there was always a guide that pushed me into the next adventure, into the next inquiry. And this is how I found myself in Chinese medicine. This is how I found myself in the Colombian tradition medicine, in meditation. All of my spiritual journey is just unfolding itself out of guidance, and like life is pushing me forward. I have to say that not all the time there was a yes. Sometimes also there was a resistance, but later on I found myself trying to aim for the highest.
Right. And so, did you ever think that you'd be like a spiritual director of a life advancement center? I mean, was that a part of your dream, or that's just a part of the unfoldment of you just working on yourself?
Not at all. Not at all. Was a chain of events that leads me into it, and I'm sorry, somehow the internet, I hear you double. So I didn't aim to it. It's just important to follow what life is offering in a way. And many times I felt that life wants something more from me, and I just need to show up for that. So when something like that is happening that is bigger than me, and I still need to show up for that, what I do, I just show up for that. And then I see what happens.
Right. A lot of people are trying to avoid life, but you're saying show up, be present, and then the guidance will take you to your next step. And I'm also hearing you say, oftentimes people have, a plan to go a certain way, but then life has detours, and life has speed bumps, and life has ways by which we are to extract wisdom from the experience in order to make better choices. So this is what I'm hearing underneath everything that you're saying. Now,
yes, it cannot be otherwise.
Right. Now tell us about Rhythmia, the Life Advancement Center, and specifically your role there, and how did you meet Jerry Powell? You know, for those people who don't know what Rhythmia is, you know, tell us a little bit about it.
Rhythmia is a licensed life advance center in Costa Rica, Guanacaste, that work with plant medicine and some other modalities. Your modality is part of it. It's a transformation school. It's a place that oneself come and bring what he have in order to illuminate, in order to move forward with his life, and to heal and to cure, but also to see what there is beyond that, which is the divinity of who we are.
Right, right. And as the spiritual director, what do you actually do there?
I just give some sort of, I'm adding a color to a business structure. I'm adding a color, a spiritual color to it. And I'm also leading one of the medicinal night. But in every business operation, if we can add a spiritual guidance or a spiritual tone into it, it is changing the business structure. It's adding a better color, a more sweet color to it.
Absolutely. For those who have never been to Rhythmia, you know, he spoke about obviously the plant medicine and the different modalities. The other modalities are deep sea cleansing, colonics. My class, The Answer Is You, is taught there. The yoga is taught every single day. Meditation is taught. Breath work is taught. Farm to table food, so you get the high nutritional food. And what happens is a community is created week after week after week of people breaking free from their limited paradigms, discovering their own blind spots, saying yes to life. And it becomes a very powerful entry point into merging with your soul. And Mitra is one of the individuals that help guide that. And he has a very powerful vibrational stance there, that Rhythmia. And now he's written this book called Insights, Steps to Truth, a book of prose and wisdom. Now, you know, this book just came out, right?
Yes, it just came out on Saturday.
Oh, just this Saturday. It just happened.
Yes, it just happened. It's just the baby is out of the womb.
So am I your first interview? Am I the first person talking to you about it?
I had a short interview just to get the practice for this media, because I'm entering a completely new territory for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, what pulled on you to write the book? And I noticed that the book is actually prose and poetry fraught with your insights around life and liberty and spiritual growth. So what was the motivation? What pulled you?
Yes, what motivated me was actually a crisis. I never intended to write the book. I would say the book was writing itself. It was in a time of a crisis around 10 years ago. The crisis was in my marriage that, of course, brought an emotional crisis, but within it, that was also a strong spiritual crisis for me. As I came to that time already well established in my meditation, in my awakening practice, healing modalities. So I established already a lot of spiritual insights. But in that moment, the impact was so strong that everything felt like it's crumbling in front of my eyes. And I looked for tools in order to reconnect me back to sources. So one of the sources that I find was to sit and to write a lot of insights and weigh how my communication with the Creator, with God, within the God inside of me, and to write it down. And wherever I was needed, I would take the book and I would reflect for myself. In the time that I had a moment of forgetfulness, I will go back to the notebook and read it and let that words penetrate me and guide me. After a year, I discovered that that actually there is really good material in that notebook. So I decided to put it together to a book. But the essence of that book for me was just to find a way to communicate with, through the words, through the written words, to communicate with creation and with the spark of God inside of me. Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. So it was almost like your journaling was therapeutic, you know, and as you were going through the crisis, it became an entry point back to yourself, back to the source, back to you. Like you were doing a soul merging based
Yes.
on the insights that you were writing from the depth of despair, the depth of crisis. That's
Yes,
powerful therapy.
It is, because I think when we are meeting a crisis in our life, in order to come out of that crisis, one of the most important things is which type of resources and sources we can connect to back. Family, friends, therapy, and so on and so on. But for a spiritual person, there is a little bit different, because a lot of our daily communication and dialogue is with the creation, is with the Creator, and with creation inside of us, with this spark of God inside of us. And for me, as a person that is embedded in spirituality, was very important to redefine it in order to find it again. So when we are in crisis,
that's great.
Reconnect.
Yeah, I like what you said. You had to redefine it to find it. Is that what you said?
Yes, I had to redefine in order to find, because when the ground is so shaken, our terms or our parts in our belief system are so shaken. So we need to find it, to refine it, and to find it again. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So it's almost like we're in a crisis. Everything you thought you knew kind of goes out the window, and then when you find it again, it's on another level. It's almost like you're believing something, then everything goes out the window. You don't have any foundation, and then when it builds back, it's on a higher level. You have a greater understanding of what you thought you knew.
Yes, this is exactly that.
Yeah,
it's passing through some purification process.
Right. And so this is why you talk about the fact that you are a lifelong learner in the art of life.
Yes.
It's not stagnant. It's not one and done. You know, and I often teach people. Go ahead. I want to hear more of what you have to say about that. Go ahead.
I say like this. I say I cannot say that I'm a teacher without declaring that I'm a student.
Right.
Because within that willingness to study, then there is more variety. There is more openness. The evolution doesn't stop.
Right.
With any title that I'm receiving. And the self-investigation or the self-inquiry is always alive. It's always demanding evolution. And so I'm a student for evolution. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I definitely understand that. You know, I always talk about the fact that we embrace not the classical sense of enlightenment, we embrace evolutionary enlightenment, which means because what's within us is infinite, that we're always going to different states, more expanded awareness of enlightenment. Classic enlightenment, people would say, well, you know, Buddha got enlightened and that was a one and done kind of thing. But in truth, that was just one facet of an ever expanding awareness that we're always on. So it's not like we become enlightened. we're more enlightened today than we were yesterday, but not as enlightened as we're going to be tomorrow, because it's infinite.
Yes.
So we have to stay on the verge of lifelong learning, self-inquiry, asking the right questions, being humble, being vulnerable, being receptive, being available. We have to live in that dynamic. And that's where the power comes. The power comes when we're actually yielding to the next stage of our own unfolding. And then this is what I'm gleaning from you. So the book was a birthquake. You actually birthed the book from the earthquake of your life, from the crisis of your life. And the book is called Insights, Steps to Truth. I love it. Yeah.
Yes, I want to join into what you said. I say it in this way that God is a relationship, and as long as we maintain that relationship become more real. As more as we nourish that relationship become more real. God becomes more real, and the God also inside of us, the spark of creation inside of us. So as more as we keep that dialogue, as more we are empowering it, as more as we discover it, as more as we are embedding in it, as more as it's washing us, as more as it brings life and light into our life.
Yeah, no, I love that. Because this is what we seek to inspire people. It's not about being a part of religion. It's about having a relationship. I love that. It's about a relationship with life with a capital L, relationship with the God presence. That it's not about just memorizing a bunch of stuff out of the Bible or the Bhagavad Gita or the Dhammapada or the Quran. It's actually having a relationship with life and with yourself that becomes like a mystical marriage. It's a love affair, actually. I like to think of it as a love affair with the presence. And it carries you through your darkest times, and it carries you and is with you during times of celebration. But many people don't have that relationship. They're a part of a club called the church or something, but they don't have the relationship. And so what you're bringing to us today is the importance of really having that relationship with the presence that becomes more real to us than the very chairs we're sitting on. It's and it's necessary. Particularly, you're talking about crisis. The world's in a crisis right now. People are afraid. Yeah.
And in this crisis, in this global crisis, if we cannot impact it globally, we can impact it privately. And the best way is for us to engage with resources and sources that make us feel strengthened, that makes us feel that we are held by life. We are never alone. But we need to investigate which kind of positive powers or which kind of positive strength is around us, and to tap into it is to tap in back to the source. When we are back in that territory of the source, we are well being taken care of. And the funny thing, that the source, the spark of creation, is inside of us. It's nowhere else. So to have that dialogue with the spark of creation inside of us connects us to the Great Spirit. That is empowering us.
Absolutely. Now I want to read something else that you wrote. He said, this is out of your chapter, Truthfulness. You write, that which I have seen, I cannot reveal. That which I have experienced, I cannot pass on. That which I am, I can only be. That which I've seen, I can't reveal. That which I have experienced, I cannot really pass on. But that which I am, I can only be. So when this came through you, what was the major insight around this? I mean, I have my own interpretation of it, but I want to hear yours.
There is so much so-called spiritual experiences or dialogue with the divine, and how that is influencing us, how that is impacting us. But it's so we can. This is the limitation of it. We cannot really wrap it up in a present and to give it to somebody. In a way, we can only give it to somebody when we are in that territory inside of us. So this is what that words are pointing to. Yeah, because there is that need once I establish once I tap into something really good, to share it in words, no? But it can be shared only in life force, and the life force many times doesn't have a name. It's just a frequency.
All you really have to give the people that you're working with is your own spiritual practice and your own insights that you have had in your practice, because these truths can't really be taught. They can only be caught. They have to be caught in consciousness by receptive minds and hearts, but they can only be expressed if somebody's living it, if somebody is activated in that. And this is what you're saying. You know, I am that which I am, I can only be. And then you're in that frequency, and then someone can catch it. And it's oftentimes beyond words, you know. They can hear your words, but your words is a carrier of frequency. If you don't have the frequency, many people have the words, but they don't have the music, you see. And they're not activated enough. And so I really appreciate what you're saying.
I like this very much how you say it. I like it very much how you say it about the music, because when life is passing through us, and when we are in that communication, that dialogue with creation inside of us and outside of us, it's have a certain melody. It's have a certain melody.
It's a vibration.
That melody, it's a vibration. That melody can be shared.
Yeah. You know, I remember, I'm thinking of Ralph Waldo Emerson's statement that that who you are speaks so loudly, I can't hear a word you're saying, you know. So, so that was a very powerful statement, because he was saying that a person's frequency and vibration is preceding their words. So oftentimes we see this with politicians all the time. You know, they're saying like these beautiful words and all the right things, but people can sit back and look and absolutely know they're not in truth. You know, they're not in compassion, they're not in honesty, they're not in generosity, because who they are is vibrating so loudly, we don't even hear the words. So in the same thing with teaching spiritually, our main thing is our own spiritual practice, so that when we share an insight, it's the frequency of the insight that's being shared, not just the words. And so I want to read that again so people hear it again now that we've talked about it a little bit. That which I have seen, I cannot reveal. That which I have experienced, I cannot pass on. That which I am, I can only be. And so it's our beingness that's most important. And you know what I like about this is that when you're with people who are doing spiritual work, and I mean really going to the mat and really going into their meditation and all whatever their technology is, you can be around people like this, because we experience this when we're together in rhythmia. You don't even have to say much. You don't even have to have long conversations. You can be in the silence together. And it's very rich, because the vibration and the frequency of connection and love is so rich. You can speak, or you don't have to speak. There's no uncomfortability in the silence, you know,
because the
vibration
is on the being level. The meeting is on the being level.
Right.
The meeting is on the being
Yeah.
level. Yeah.
Yeah. I find that a lot when I'm at Rhythmia. I find that a lot with my people here at Agape who have done tremendous work. You can just be. You can laugh. You can have great time. You can have fun. You can say nothing. You can be silly. Because you're operating on a beingness level, not on a, well, I should look like this. Spirituality looks like this. And spirituality looks like I should be doing this. But it's not any of that. You know, it's connection and relationship to the presence that shows up moment by moment by moment, how you are to be in the world that's appropriate for that particular moment. Sweet. I'm going to read another one.
It's a side effect of being in the being. It's a side effect of being in the being that you could be more free.
Right. Did you say free?
Yeah.
Yeah. Freedom does not mean license to do anything you want to do, but there's a freedom of the soul that many people don't have an opportunity to experience because they're so confined to the societal paradigm of how they should be that they never get to what they're meant to be. You know, that's one of the things I love teaching at Rhythmia. It comes through it from time to time that there is a society gives you a should be, but your soul gives you a meant to be. Like there's something within us that's meant to be. A rose seed is meant to be a rose bush. It's not meant to be an avocado tree. There's something within us that's meant to be, and it's beyond society. It's beyond the frame of the world. It's beyond governments. It's beyond political policies. And many people never get to the freedom of what they're meant to be. And that's what spiritual practice is about, you see. That relationship.
Because our soul is in the territory of God. Our soul is not in the territory of any government, in any social contract. Our soul is in the territory of God, and there is freedom.
Yeah. And you see people today where their soul has been captured by governmental influence, fitting into society, and what they've gained by that is a false sense of safety and oftentimes a deep sense of insecurity because they're not tapping into their soul. Their soul doesn't belong to the government. Their soul belongs to God, you know. And that's what spiritual liberation is all about, reminding people that their soul belongs to God, the God spark within us, not to a government, not to a denomination, not to a political party, but to the presence.
Yes,
never
even not to their old condition, even not to their own constricted belief system. Yeah, because the soul is deeper than all of it. The soul is the rooting line in us, and is to, like you said, to remind that to people, and that is very important. So we can remind it to people, but that the beauty of it and what I was trying to bring into the book is to evoke the longing of oneself to tap into that memory. Yeah, because when we have a natural thank you. When we have that flame of a longing to inquire really who we are, to stimulate ourselves to see what there is beyond. What that longing gives us is a certain map to go and to meet our being. Yeah, that longing is very important. So many times I try, instead of reminding, I try to evoke that longing, because when oneself longing is being evoked, he is already his own teacher in a way. He knows where to go, where the wind blows. Yeah.
That is so true. I often say that you don't want an external authority figure. Your authority is your latest insight into reality. That's your authority.
Yes.
That's the
Yes.
authority. The authority isn't
Yes.
external out there. The authority is your own true insight into reality. And then that's how you live until you get your next insight, your next revelation. Then you live from that dynamic. And so you're always living free based on revelation and insight, not on stagnation, stagnant dogmas and dead words and books, you know.
I say amen
But
to that.
yeah. And so you take something like this that I have in my hand, and it can lead you to deeper questions. Like I like this one here, and this is from your chapter Truthfulness. You write an intention to be in integrity. Let me see that or an attempt to conceal. At the root of the intention for integrity lies the truth. At the root of the attempt to conceal lies self-deception. Now that's simple and profound. An intention to be in integrity or an attempt to conceal. At the root of the intention for integrity lies the truth. The root of the intention for integrity lies the truth. At the root of the attempt to conceal lies self-deception. We create our own blind spots when we try to conceal. Yeah, speak on that.
It could be our spiritual practice, because there is so many practices. But if we take integrity and we took it as a spiritual practice, and we keep that integrity with our actions, with what we say, with what we think, it will lead us to the truth.
Yeah.
It leaves the integrity leaves footprint to the truth.
Yes.
And the same on the other hand, when we are following illusion or we are following lack of integrity, it will lead us to lie. It will lead us to deception from ourselves and from the others.
Yes, absolutely. This is powerful. And I think when people read poetry and prose, you know, I teach people to go into what is called a contemplative meditation. That is, you read it and then you meditate and you read it again so you can get under the words, and you contemplate and you read it again so you can actually get to the insight that the author had. And then you read it again so then you have your own insight that the poem led you to, you see. And so an intention, just the intention to be in integrity is a path.
Yes.
Just that intention to be in integrity. And the integrity, people think that's a moral thing, but integrity means to be integrated with your soul. It means to come back to your own wholeness, you see. So when you have an intention to be in integrity, the root of that intention for integrity lies truth. This is good work here, Mitra. This is good work, man. You have
the intention puts an arrow forward, and it guides us where we should walk.
Yeah. Yeah, where we should walk. I have the chapters Change in front of me. I printed it out. I have the chapters Truthfulness. How many chapters are in your book?
I think there is 35.
35
topics. 35 topics.
35 different topics. Now, where can they get the book now?
They can get it on all the platforms, on Amazon, on iTunes. You can get it print. You can get it as an ebook.
Okay. And it's called Insights, Steps to Truth by Mitra Politi. Is it Politi?
Politi, yeah.
Yeah, Mitra Politi. So, hey everyone, I want you to get this book because I have it in my hand. I love the poetry. It really lends itself to really good contemplative meditation. And as he indicated, it was birthed out of his own crisis that he was moving through. And he became kind of journalistic, therapeutic for him to merge with his soul. So it carries some very simple and profound movements of thought. You know, I'll read one more. In seeing things for what they truly are, confronting the illusion and the lie, arises a subtle resistance. This resistance must be melted by compassion. Compassion for myself, compassion for... Again, when I read that, your own words back to you, what comes up for you in that?
It's so wonderful for me to hear your voice and your tone reading this line. It's impacting me so beautifully. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, even just for this moment of you reading that.
Oh, it's my joy. And one thing that I'd love to embrace is how we must have compassion for ourselves. We can't be too hard on ourselves when we stumble and fall, particularly if we're seeking the truth and seeking integrity. We have to have compassion on ourselves, because the only way to have compassion for another is we have to have compassion for ourselves. For as hard as we are on ourselves, we end up becoming judgmental and hard on others. You know, so yes, it begins here. That was a lesson for me, because I was very critical of myself and very hard on myself, and so I had to learn. And I was taught when I went in to the other space, and the beings taught me. They taught me that I need to have more compassion on myself, and then I would naturally, the river of compassion would flow through my heart to others because of my embracing of myself.
It is so important, especially when we are entering this conscious game. Yeah, when we are increasing our consciousness, it means that our screen, the lenses of our screen, will get bigger, and that means that we will see more stuff on ourselves. We will see more stuff on the other, because we are illuminating some parts. But if we don't bring into it the tool of compassion, we will end up seeing more, but judging more and criticizing more. So as more as we can content, that is an ally. This is a friend that goes with us into the opening of consciousness. Because opening of consciousness is not only the experience of the creation in me, I'm also seeing more. I see more the screen of what I feel, what is really is there inside of me. Mm-hmm. And bringing compassion into it is changing the tone. It is making everything softer. And like this, we can come back into wholeness. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's so very necessary. How can people be in touch with you, Mitra?
You can through Instagram, Facebook, Mitra Politi. My website is inside line the book, and the information is all there. Yeah.
Very good. That's Mitra Politi, and he's the spiritual director of the Rhythmia Life Advancement Center, and that's the place that I go to at least twice a year to teach. January and July. Obviously, with the COVID situation, I have not been able to be there to teach because people can't go there right now. But as soon as it opens, I will be there. The month it opens, I will be there to teach. Gerard Powell and I have been talking about it. It might be November. We don't know. But I know people are creating a waiting list to come back to Rhythmia because they've done a lot of soul searching in their self-quarantine, and they want to come to Rhythmia and basically use all these modalities to go even deeper. So Mitra, I will see you in Rhythmia as soon as it opens up. And
I'm so looking forward for that. I'm so looking forward for that moment that Rhythmia will open and we can go back to share the work and the joy with people. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So if you don't know what Rhythmia is, it's a Rhythmia Life Advancement Center. You can go to their Instagram page as well, or their website. And I'm telling you, when you do a week of, the deep sea cleanse And the answer is you program, and the meditation and the breath work and the yoga and the option to do plant medicine with Mitra or one of the other shaman. And let me just say this about that. These are real shaman. These are not somebody that went to Peru for 2 weeks and came back and said, I'm a shaman. You know, these are individuals who are steeped, like Mitra, in the practice of leading people to higher states of consciousness and creating a zone of safety and wellness. And then you have the farm to table food, nourishing food by the chef Meg. And it's a very beautiful place to be. And so Mitra is one of the wonderful beings that you'll meet there. You know, one of the wonderful beings that you'll meet there. And I appreciate you. Any final words?
Likewise. Shamanism is a very big word that have a lot of weight on it. I like to look at myself as a simple healer and as a student to the path. Last word is you know, my hope for humanity on the individual level of humanity is that we will aim and look for our divine potential. That we will aim and look for our divine potential. Like this, we can create a new autonomy that comes from within, with the autonomy of light and love.
If you want another awesome video in our Black Excellence series, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.